Welcome back to the podcast. We have like a surprise podcast going on tonight.
Surprised us.
We've been planning on doing this just about every day this week. I think I said, let's do it tonight. I got my wisdom teeth out last week and then just been having pain ever since. So I messed up my jaw. I don't know if I told you, I went back to the doctor yesterday because I was still having like the shooting headaches and the pain in my jaw. And they're like, oh yeah, your joint in your jaw is sprained. It's like pulled or sprained or something. That's why I get like these sharp pains up through there and up through my jaw and everything for the last week.
Did they know that, or they just took a look real quick?
No, when they looked at it.
Oh.
They're like poking at it, like, is that tender? I'm like, when you do that, it is. I mean, damn. But, so got some ibuprofen in me today. I'm ready to roll, at least for a little bit. It's going to be a pretty short and sweet podcast today, which honestly, there's not too much to cover in UFC 243.
Nah, not really.
Yeah. Man, and we're following up from, we missed the UFC 242. That was the first pay-per-view.
That?
Yeah, that was the first pay-per-view we've missed this year. That was because that was that crazy weekend. I think we were supposed to get that last hurricane that ended up going up the East Coast and hitting like
was it that time?
North Florida. Yeah, that's what it was.
Seems so long ago now.
I know, right?
It was a month.
Yeah, so
wow, a month takes a long time, doesn't it?
It feels like it right now. But yeah, that was the first one we missed all year, man. I mean, we've made up for it at the beginning of the year. We were doing like every event, even the free passes or the free fights on ESPN and stuff. But yeah, let's kind of get into this card. The main card really took a hit on, name recognition when Raquel Pennington versus Holly Holm fell through. Was that earlier this week or late last week?
I think it was earlier this week.
Yeah, Holly sustained an injury to a muscle or joint or something in her hip that like detached itself. She had like a 30% tear or something, and it's not enough that she has to get surgery, but she does have to recoup from it. Like, she can't heal fast enough, obviously, for this fight. So they're just rescheduling that for later this year, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't really do much for me either way.
Yeah.
So.
Holly's had a rough run, too, lately, so I think she needs a winnable fight. This is a rematch anyways, I'm pretty sure.
It is.
So, but yeah, in that place, we got a heavyweight fight coming up. I don't think there was, like, before we get into the main card, you and I were talking about this, there's not really much on the prelims that you're missing out on. So, Megan Anderson's fighting, but
somebody.
Yeah. I don't think, when they do these regional fights, because this one's going to be in Australia at the, what was it called? The Marvel Center?
Marvel Center, yeah.
Yeah, Marvel Center. They usually pull a lot of regional people that we don't have a lot of familiarity with.
They're not going to overload international cards unless they had a lot of international talent.
Yeah.
They're not going to send their U.S. superstars or their big U.S. names over there.
Yeah. Well, ironically, this is the biggest title fight for Australia.
Oh, they're both
Australian fighters. So.
Local guys.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. So maybe they just felt like they had the star power in the headliner.
I think they do, yeah. There's a lot of excitement around that.
Yeah, certainly. But yeah, so there wasn't really much on the prelims that we can really cover, and even this first fight's it's a weird one too. So why don't you kind of get into it?
Justin Tafa versus Jorgen De Castro. It's two fat boys who have 8 combined fights and 100% finish rate. So no video really on them. So I mean, I would assume.
Yeah, De Castro came from the Contender Series, Dana White's Contender Series, and I don't even think even in the Contender Series he was a favorite to win. I think he just showed up and won, beat his opponent that he was he was not favored against, and he got a contract luckily, because this one fell out. We see a lot of these late signings now this year because I think you alluded to this in an earlier podcast that we had, like. Since the UFC, one of the things is since, it's all on different programming between UFC Fight Pass, ESPN, and then the ESPN pay-per-view, like they can't go pulling fights off the undercard because they have to have headliners and fights that are advertised for that. They have to have an advertised product. So they can't pull any like big name fighters
so
that
they
might
pull
be
from like the beginning of the prelim or the beginning of the early prelim.
Yeah, because that's what they would do before when the UFC owned pretty much their own, their own pay-per-view through and through. They would just bump up. Yep, they bump everybody up. But now, you see like these last-minute replacements coming through. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the good thing is with this one, there's not really stats on here. I printed out a stat sheet of damn near nothing. Yeah, I'd toss that one aside. It's just always fun to watch a bunch of big heavyweights. I was reading some previews that they think this is just going to be a sprawl and brawl. That's what you're probably going to see. They're both relatively young, very inexperienced. One guy's 5-0, the other one's 3-0. So yeah, we'll kind of see how this one goes. But you know what? Sometimes those make for the best fights, though.
They do.
So because the thing is, if you don't have a lot of video on the other guy, man, both guys go out there and they fight their own game plan. They're not over processing a game plan that they've worked on for a whole training camp, et cetera, et cetera. So they just go out there and they fight their own fight.
Out to get 50 G's, baby.
That is very true. They're out there just to make money and make a name for themselves. So sometimes these turn into great fights, but should be a fun. Heavyweights are always just fun to watch. You know what you're going to get for the most part. They're going to go out there and they're going to, punch each other's lights out. Especially, I think you said both these guys have 100% finish rate. Granted, that's against local competition, but
heavyweights,
yeah,
throw heavy.
Not that it's worth it, but there is a favorite in this one. That's Tafa is the favorite, minus 125 to Castro's plus 105.
Went with the hometown boy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the other thing to point out too. Tafa, he's hometown from New Zealand, so that's the other good thing though, man. You get to pull up some guys that might not get a shot otherwise, from the local scene. Any other things you want to point? You're like, no. Let's move along. All right, man. Why don't we get to the next fight?
Welterweight fight next versus Luke Jumau and Diego Lima. Not really much to see in this one. Lima's been kind of a vet, Ultimate Fighter, reject kind of guy, just bouncing around.
Yeah, he made it to the Ultimate Fighter series finale on 2 separate occasions. And he's an athletic guy. He just, his chin is suspect, and he never seems to be able to put it all together. And he's been knocked out a few times. I mean, he has good stand-up, but what's good stand-up if you can't hang with with the 170s? He seems like a bit undersized, which is weird because I think he's like 6'1" or 6. He's a tall dude. He's actually 6'3". But yeah, he doesn't have a chin, man. He can't last in there with some of the. But
this guy's a wrestler, so he's not going to need much of a chin.
Yeah, Jumau, from what I've seen too, he's not athletic. He's not an athletic guy. Yeah. And he doesn't have an abundance of power. He's fought lower level competition. He's only had 3 fights in the UFC. He is 2-1 right now. All 3 fights have gone to decision. Diego's fought at least a little bit better competition. He's fought Okami, Tim Means. Just trying to think of some of the other guys he's fought. But either way, he's been in the UFC since 2014, I believe. So he's been around for a little bit, man. He has some experience. I think he's the more athletic guy. It's really just going to be whether or not, Jumau can catch him with that.
I think Jumau's just going to take him down, hold him down.
Yeah. Diego Lima, he's on a 2-fight win streak, not against the best competition. I think his last outing was against Court McGee, which he won. Court McGee's a veteran guy, so, it's a good win, but not an impressive one by any means.
Yeah, boring one to me.
Yeah, so.
Go get your popcorn. Go to the bathroom for that one.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for that one, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But odd makers kind of have it favored in that regard too. Diego Lima's the favorite, the minus 150 to Jumau's plus 130. So going with the veteran on that one, to your point, the veteran and the more athletic guy. But at least it gets a little bit more interesting when we get into the third fight. So Sean, why don't you kick that one?
Yeah, at least it gets a little bit more exciting with Tai Tuivasa taking on Sergey Spivak. I think this is his. How many fights has he had in the UFC? 1?
Spivak, yeah, he got torched by Walt Harris in his first fight.
So he's got a 100% finish rate himself too, but so does Tai Tuivasa. And Tua can throw, he can sling him.
Yeah, two is great. He's a guy that's kind of let us down. He's on a 2-fight skid right now, and he looked.
He just got hyped a little too fast.
Yeah, he's on the younger side, but he didn't look good against Ivanov in his last fight, which I thought was a little bit disappointing. Ivanov's a well-rounded guy, but that turned into a ugly slugfest. I remember watching that one earlier this year. Let's be candid what this one is. This one's a tune-up fight for
get to a tie back on the
100%. He's
wagon.
He's a fan favorite. He's an Aussie, so the people there love him. They always show a picture of him drinking beer out of someone's boot, which is disgusting.
Sometimes sometimes Cowboys,
and sometimes random people in the crowd. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
that's disgusting.
It's an Australian thing. I don't know.
But otherwise, what do you see from this fight?
I think we pretty much covered. I just don't think this dude's going to be able to hang with the power. If Walt Harris is knocking him out, I think Ty's going to find that chin.
Yeah. Supposedly he's a well-rounded guy.
He's got a pretty good split between finish rate of knockouts and subs.
Yeah. But I just don't – Ty's actually really good in on the close quarters combat, so I just don't see really much that he's going to do to Ty.
We couldn't really just see much of the Sergey kid because he got just lit up.
Yeah, by Walt Harris, Walt's been climbing up the heavyweight rankings real quick right now. He's been doing really well himself, but I just don't see too much coming from this. Let's be candid again. They're bringing in an import from Russia to get beat by Ty.
Yeah, if they were really excited about this kid, they wouldn't be feeding him Ty in the second fight after getting starched.
Yeah,
in his first one.
Absolutely. So. Could be a tune-up fight for both guys. The other, Spinak's a young guy too, so maybe they want to see if he has something. But either way, I think this is all Ty. And then let's go to the odds real quick.
Odds have to have Ty.
Definitely. Actually,
pretty heavily. I would
pretty
think.
heavily. Tuivasa's the -370 to Spivak's +310.
Yeah, I would assume that.
Not even close. And I don't even like comparing stats because, the stats...
odds makers don't usually go big on MMA fights either.
No, unless there's, a huge split, if John Jones is fighting or something,
Yeah.
or Daniel Cormier. There's, hardly ever, huge splits. Or there's someone that's just coming off the street fighting, a top-ranked fighter. But, yeah, I don't like looking at the stats on this one either just because Ty's had a few UFC fights.
You watch enough of Ty to know.
No, yeah. No, I was just saying.
It's complete opposite for the other guy. We have nothing to see of him. We don't know anything about him.
That's not true. We have 50 seconds, Sean.
Yeah, I was going to say, we know that he could get knocked out in 50 seconds. That's about it.
I got to say, I don't mean to sidetrack here, but you look great in your video. You got a nice little wedding picture of Whitney and I in the background. You have the snowflake candle holder in your back left shoulder. Oh. Everything's backwards looking at it on the video. So you have a nice backdrop.
Is it because you're in it?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not in the
you
backdrop.
Just said your wedding photo.
Oh, yeah. No, I thought you meant me. No, actually, I could see more of Whitney, if anything. You keep moving your head. I know you two get along so well.
Yeah.
You are just a man of words tonight, Sean. Nothing? You ain't got nothing?
Nope.
All right, let's get into this co-main then. I know that you talk fights, so let's talk about this is, let's be candid, this is going to be the first legit fight of the night. This
will be the first one that gets you excited.
Yeah,
well, that too.
It doesn't really have lightweight implications on the line. Maybe for a top 15 ranking, it's a fan fight, and I think it's a growing pains fight for Dan Hooker.
Yeah, I don't really know what to think. I would think in this reaction that Dan's got this fight.
This is Dan Hooker versus Ally Aquina. We forgot to announce it.
Oh, well. You just did, so.
Off the game, son.
It's just been a while. We're rusty, that's all.
Yeah.
I first thought about it. You would think Hooker's got this pretty easily after watching Iaquinta struggle with Cowboy in his length and range. And then you think, well, Iaquinta comes from a wrestling gym, so he's probably got good wrestling. But then you look at his wrestling stats, and they're dog shit. It's 0.69 takedown average per 15. He's got 20% accuracy. He can defend a takedown, but he can't get him. So
no, and Hooker has good takedown defense as
yeah.
well. I think we've seen that a few times, and you have to at 155.
And that was not a strong guy.
No. honestly, I think this will all come down to timing because obviously Hooker's the much taller guy, much bigger reach. But Al does have like that herky jerky inside out. Like he's at distance and then he's in and he's out.
Mm-hmm.
He hits you, he peppers you, and then he's out. So it's really going to be, can Dan time that well? He should be able to.
I would think so. I mean, he's coming from the same gym that Adesanya is coming from, a pure kickboxing gym. He's been doing it for a long time. I just don't see Al giving him like much to offer.
Yeah, I just think it'll just be like if it's an off night for Dan,
which could happen. I mean, he's lost 8 fights, so it's
a lot of those I think came at 145 before he learned that he just can't cut all that weight. When he's come up to 155, he's looked like a different fighter. Because he's not.
Edson.
Edson's just a monster though. That dude. I mean, let's put it this way: Al doesn't have leg kicks like leg and body kicks. Yeah, like Edson does. If Al's gonna win, it's because he's gonna disrupt Dan's timing, especially when he's coming in and out, and he's gonna pepper him with shots. If for whatever reason Dan can't figure that out, then that's where Al's gonna have an opportunity to win. But otherwise, if Dan keeps this at a distance, keep this at range, and he can land precision shots, which I think he's fully capable of, he's gonna tear him up. He's gonna outpoint him.
Yeah, if I hadn't seen Al fight Cowboy, I would say I would probably be pretty favorable for Al. But watching him deal with that length and the reach, he had no answer for it.
Yeah, especially like with Cowboy. Obviously, Cowboy's a great fighter, but one of the faults I believe that Cowboy has is he's very vertical in his stance. So he's like very straight up.
Yeah,
keeps his chin open. He doesn't have like a lot of movement or anything, which I think Dan makes up for a little bit. He's a little bit more athletic because he's younger too. Like Cowboy's been through some wars, so your body gives away.
Cowboy's got more of the Muay Thai background, and Dan's more kickboxing. So.
So he moves a little bit. So I mean, honestly, this could even be a worse fight for Al.
It could.
But I don't see either guy finishing one or the other unless someone just really opens up a cut or just catches somebody.
Dan's very good at using his knees against undersized opponents.
Yeah.
So that's something to look for.
Yeah, that's a good point too because back to that discussing like Al's style, that herky jerky in and out. He, usually that entails you overextending your hands and leaving your head open, as well as a lot of times those guys put their heads down too. So that's a good point too. If he can catch them, maybe coming in. But if this is just a straight boxing match or kickboxing match, I don't see anybody going out. I think this is gonna be a 3-round decision, which doesn't mean that it's gonna be a bad fight. I think it'll be a good fight. Yeah, I think it'll be a good. I think it'll be a good appetizer. Yeah, for sure. Any other thoughts, feelings, emotions about that?
Not really.
No. All right. Well, luckily it's going by on the ticker. Hooker is the favorite. He's a -165 to Iaquinta's +145. So not a big difference in odds here. I think that's actually fair.
Yeah.
For what you and I are thinking as well. So nothing crazy. Just kind of looking here. I didn't think there was anything big in the stats that I saw. They're pretty even, actually, if you look at their striking stats.
Yeah, they
pretty break
identical.
Even. Yeah. Grappling, actually, funny enough, to your point, it's favored by Dan Hooker. But yeah. All right, man. Let's get on to
the main event for the middleweight world championship.
Let's not kid ourselves. This is why you're paying $60.
Yeah, Robert Whittaker defending his title against interim champion Israel Adesanya, the last style bender.
Yeah, and we talked about this at the top of the podcast as well. Is that this is the biggest fight for Australia, I think, in UFC history because you have.
This is their monumental fight because I don't think they've really had big boxers or anything like on the global stage.
I'm not sure about that.
So.
I just know at least.
I'm just talking from like a superstar standpoint because Adesanya's like right on the cusp of that, especially if he wins big.
Oh yeah, definitely. But no, Aussie versus Aussie champ.
Well, technically Kiwi, Aussie versus Kiwi.
Oh yeah. But either way, like I don't usually like calling interim champs because I hate the whole interim system. But I think that this one was at least relatively deserved.
I was gonna say, every now and again, there comes like a deserving interim champ. Like when Max Holloway won it, he was a deserving one. Tony was a deserving interim champ.
Yeah.
Adesanya's a deserving interim champ.
Yeah, and that's why I was gonna.
Because even though he's only been with the UFC, I think this is gonna cap off year 2 for him. Mm-hmm. Which is no time at all for a guy to be getting a title shot. He's gone through the ringer.
Oh yeah, I mean he's already. This is what his fifth or this is his 6th or 7th fight, I think maybe already.
Yes, because Vittori was his 2nd fight, I think. So this is his 6th fight.
Yeah.
No, this is his 7th. Sorry, he's had 6.
Yeah, I mean, damn, that's pretty damn impressive. I'd say in a 2-year span, that's a lot of fights.
I mean, he was calling for some killers too. Even before this, he was trying to get a fight with Paulo Costa, which we saw what he did with Yoel. Mm-hmm. That was brutal. And there's a couple other guys that he was calling out too that he was trying to get, but it didn't happen.
No, I mean he got he got lucky. I think that Whittaker got hurt because then he got the Gastelum fight, which was an instant classic of a title fight at middleweight, and then
Gastelum ain't no joke.
No. But anyways, I think let's start talking about this, man. What's your thoughts, man? What's your initial thoughts?
My thoughts. This is another one. Before I saw him fight Kelvin Gastelum, if you would have asked me, I would have leaned toward Robert Whittaker because we know what he can do in a 5-round fight. We know he can go through those tough, those tough rounds where nothing's going his way. He's getting his shit rocked, and he has to reel, and he can come back and win. Mm-hmm. Adesanya, we didn't know about that until we saw him fight Gastelum. He had to dig deep, and in that 5th round, it was all him. Yeah. And he shined when the pressure was on. Yeah. So now I'm looking at it, well, Whittaker's only had like 1 fight in 2 or 3 years, or 2 fights in 3 years or something like that. It's a lot of time off due to bad injuries, too, with his knees. I think his back, he had a hand problem. That's some tough stuff to come back from. And fight a dude who uses movement like Adesanya does. It's not like he's fighting – like Gastelum, who doesn't really utilize a lot of movement. He kind of walks forward. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, I don't think Whittaker is going to have that step. I think he's going to be because he had 2 brutal fights with Yoel too, and that's going to wear on him with those injuries.
Yeah, because my initial thought was I don't see Adesanya being able to finish him. Because Adesanya, it's hard for him to finish guys. He will throw punches and bunches. He doesn't have like a one-punch knockout power. But it's hard to tell because Whittaker did take a crap load of damage in both those Yoel fights, Yeah. So it's hard to say how he'll recoup from that. And then to your point too, he's had 2 serious injuries in the last 2 years as well that he's had to recoup from, possibly even 3. I think I want to say before the Yoel fight, maybe. But either way, he has a lot of damage. So the thing with with Adesanya is he's had over 80 kickboxing pro matches. I mean,
he's been very active.
Yeah, he's an active guy. He got an MMA, man. He's been racking up the wins.
Doesn't take a lot of damage.
Not usually, except for that Gastelum. I think the thing with the Gastelum fight, like a lot of people ask, like how he could let a shorter fighter tag him so much, but I think a lot of that is for 2 reasons. One, he respected Gastelum's wrestling ability, which he doesn't have to look out for with Whittaker as much, right? So that's going to be part of the game plan. Like, he doesn't even have to – he can
but people
strike with him.
People very underrate Kelvin's ability to box.
Well,
he's got very quick hands.
No, he does. He does have quick hands, but I mean, when you're 6'4" fighting a guy that's 5'10",
hey, Daniel Cormier lit up John Jones in their rematch before he got kicked in the head.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, typically you wouldn't want to see that from a guy that's
you don't want to, but some guys they have it down.
Well, that's what I was going to say, too, is I think part of that is Adesanya was thinking about the wrestling game. That's an element he doesn't have to worry about with Whittaker. And the other thing, too, is, let's be honest, he probably didn't expect much from the stand-up from Gastelum. He probably underestimated him going into that fight thinking he had such a huge reach advantage.
And another thing about Gastelum's style was he was not what a lot of people aren't willing to do. He was willing to take 2 or 3 just to land one.
Exactly. Because he knows he hits heavy.
He was wearing some shots in that fight just to land one.
Yeah, and he tagged Adesanya a few times too because he hits heavy.
Once he slowed him down a little bit, then he started connecting more.
Do you think Whittaker hits harder than Gastelum?
I don't think he hits harder, but I think he's more creative of a striker. Yeah, and he'll use different angles. Because Gastelum's basically just a boxer. Mm-hmm. Whittaker he'll mix it up. Yeah, but he's got enough power in his own right too, though.
No, there's no doubt Whittaker has power.
Adesanya's got to be more wary of the kicks because he even took one from Kelvin. Yeah. Because nobody saw that coming. He only threw one head kick and it landed. Yeah. and but he'll see more kicks from Whittaker.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it'll feel more at home for him. It'll feel more like a kickboxing fight.
Yeah, which I think he can dominate. For me, the key for Adesanya in this fight is staying at range, staying accurate, and keeping Whittaker off of him. On the other hand, Whittaker has to push that pressure. I think he's really good at getting inside and pushing that pressure on you and using that power shot that he has, or those left and rights that he has. So I think it's really going to be a game of distance. Who can win that battle?
Israel's really going to come out slow because I think he's not going to want Whittaker to get back in the feel of the fight. He's not going to want him to settle in early. I think he's going to make him want to think about it mentally, from a mental standpoint. Like when you played in a football game, right? Like you always had like those pregame nerves, and they never really settled in until you got hit. Mm-hmm. I think that's what he's going to try to do to Whittaker, try to make him sit on those nerves for as long as possible.
Yeah. Who do you think the fight favors as it goes on into the later rounds?
This is tough. That's a tough one. I would say Israel just because he's been active.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only thing I was thinking was it could potentially favor Whittaker because if he gets confident, like I said that Adesanya doesn't have one-punch knockout power. Mm-hmm. So if Whittaker starts getting confident, like, man, he's tagged me a few times. I'm not afraid of those shots. He's going to start coming inside and start really landing some powerful shots, I think. So it could potentially favor Whittaker in the long run. He's done the 5-round fights.
But he could get tired chasing.
He could, yeah. No, that's for sure. And so I don't know. That'd be a flip of coin. I think that'd be something good to watch. Is just kind of see how the fight progresses. I don't think it's going to end quick. Like, this isn't going to be finished in the second or third round. I think this will go into the championship rounds.
I think
sure.
So, like I said, I think it'll be a slow starting fight.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I also don't see Whittaker coming out on fire because he's got a difficult guy ahead of him. He's not just going to rush forward. That's not who he is anyway. No,
and to your point, too, like, he has some ring rust, man. He's got to shake that off a little bit. So I think that it'll be interesting to see how he goes. And especially, too, like, he has to work with Adesanya being able to switch sides. The guy just switches back and forth, left, right. Yeah. So any other thoughts on this fight? Pretty much, yeah. I think Adesanya pretty much owns the stand-up as far as, like, the stats go. Striking accuracy, and this is all in regards to significant strikes, 51%. I always said you could tell elite. I probably said this on every damn podcast, but elite strikers tend to be over that 50% mark for striking accuracy and significant strikes. His absorb per minute is low at 2.49, so that's really good. That means he's evasive.
He's dealing double what he's taking.
Exactly. So. And his defense is at 65%, which is really solid.
And I want to say that the strikes absorbed probably inflated since that Gastelum fight.
That is true, too. That's a good point.
That's really the only fight that I saw him get hit clean several times. He might have got hit clean once or twice in his other fights per fight. But.
Yeah, the only stat that Whittaker really owns in the stand-up is strikes landed per minute, which it's a close split. It's 4.82, so a little under 5 for Whittaker, and it's 4.4 for Israel. So still pretty close, but, just got to give that one to Whittaker as well. If anything, the grappling split, funny enough, where Whittaker owns the offensive grappling stats and Adesanya owns the defensive grappling stats pretty heftily too.
Yeah.
Takedown defense at 85%, which again, that's pretty damn impressive considering he's a middleweight fighter and this is going to be his 7th fight.
Well, he had like 7 or 8 defenses in one round against Derek Brunson.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah. That could be a little inflated too. Derek Brunson was reaching for that one after he got tagged a few times. So, but yeah. So that's the headliner. Sean, who do you pick for this one?
I got Adesanya. Taking the active guy over the champion who's been out and injured.
Yeah. I mean, we really like Bobby Knuckles, but I'm going with Adesanya too. I just think it kind of favors him. I mean, he has how long is his reach advantage? He has a 7-inch reach advantage. He's been active to your point. And I think Whittaker's taken a crap load of damage in and out of the cage the last few years. So I'm leaning towards Adesanya on this one too. Mm-hmm. So at least that one will be fun. I think the top 2 fights will definitely be fun on this card. It still is at 10, even though it's on the other side of the world. So I think
that's surprising.
Yeah, I think they're 13 hours ahead, so it's going to be an early morning.
So that's probably why.
Yeah, it's going to be like a midday card for them, so they're going to be getting drunk early over there.
On a Sunday, yeah.
Drinking out of boots, getting nasty. So yeah, man, it should be entertaining. That on top of college football, we usually have 2 screens running on Saturdays when there's UFC on. We're watching whatever the big college football game is on because our Miami Hurricanes suck. So that's not usually a primetime game this year.
Yeah.
You look like you want to say something. You're like, nah.
Let's not get into that.
I don't have the willpower right now.
Let's just not get into that one.
Yeah. But yeah, man, before we get off, Sean and I are trying to do Sober October this year. I want to talk a little bit about that. How you doing so far?
Long 3 days. Well, that was part of my joke. I don't know if you got that earlier when we were talking about how long it was since we did our last podcast. It's like, wow, a month is a long time.
Oh, you were like looking ahead like, damn, when's November 1st? I know. I walked a mile day one, but I'm going to have – all right, so we're doing Sober October, obviously no drinking for the whole month, and then we're trying to run a mile for at least 1 mile for each day, and then timing – how fast we can do 100 push-ups and 100 crunches. Sean's been able to start, but just because of the headaches and crap from my wisdom teeth, I think I'm going to have to roll into November. I'm going to have to make up for the days. So,
well, that's your decision.
Trust me, I don't want to. It's not like I'm like, yay, super duper, but I definitely want to do it. I'm committed to it. If you guys want to join us, man, we have on Map My Run. You can find me and add me through Facebook or something. I have a picture of Thor as my profile picture. But you can add us if you want to be held accountable. We're all doing this. So, Sean, you've been crushing it, man. You ran 3 miles, I think, the first day, right?
No, I ran 2 both days so far. I'm about to run 2 after this.
Oh, I thought you ran 3 the first day. I thought you passed me like 3 times, but that's because I was walking that first day because I wasn't feeling good. But good job, man. That's good. Maybe you could double up this month. Aiming for 60?
I was aiming for it, yeah.
Yeah. Nice,
2 miles is pretty easy.
What's that?
I said 2 miles is pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get done pretty quick. I mean, that's why it's good to do it. You stay fit, stay healthy. I mean, a mile, even if you run a slow mile, it's only 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not running hard today. I ran hard yesterday.
Yeah.
And I got a slower time than I did Monday.
I know.
Tuesday, whatever day it was.
Sometimes, man, when the week's wearing on you after you've worked out, you've had quite a few sessions in, it can be a little bit harder. You feel like you're putting more effort through and you're just not seeing the time on your mileage. So that definitely hurts. But all right, man. Anything else you want to add about this card?
No, not really.
All right, man of many words over here. Just trying to get out of here so he can go get his run in for Sober October and
so he can eat pizza.
And eat pizza. He ate a pizza before this. He'll run 2 miles, do his push-ups and sit-ups, and then eat another pizza. I admire you, guy. So
gotta earn those calories.
All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Looking forward to the fight on Saturday. At least 2 of them. Hope you enjoy your weekend and have a good rest of your day. And
see you next month.
Is it already next month? Is the next card?
Yeah, November 2nd. Actually, I think is Madison Square Garden.
Wow, we'd have.
That's a bad motherfucker title, so that's a big one.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That's gonna be crazy. All right, man. We'll let you guys.
Will not be sober for that one.
I might have to be, but all right, guys. We'll see you later.
See you.